the Author to Author podcast series with award-winning author Pamela R. Haynes.
Welcome to the podcast.
Dalgety Herbal Teas produce 100% natural high-quality organic teas using only the best ingredients. Available now from all major supermarkets, or please visit our website at dalgety.co. Dalgety Herbal Teas.
Hello, lovely listeners. I have a distinguished guest coming up today on my Author to Author podcast. KLS Fuerte will be joining us in a minute. She is on the verge of the relaunch of her book, Never Saw You Coming, and the release of her new book, Now Live With That. But before we get there, I'm sad to report that the Ethical Traders show was postponed due to the new government restrictions in the UK. But I am pleased to let you know I managed to get my books into the Book and Culture bookshop. Book and Culture is a bookshop based in the heart of the London Borough of Brent. It has taken me 6 months before I could finally drop the books off, do my promo interview and take photos, but I got there in the end. They have a diverse collection of books there, and it was moving to see copies of my books finally on the shelf. Check out their website at www.bookandculture, that's culture with a K.com. I had my first TV internet appearance on a show called Too Nice for One Slice. It is a baking show hosted by the talented baker Jackie C. Brown. She bakes and interviews her guests at the same time, and I was privileged to be one of her guests. We baked one of my late mother's favourite cakes, Bajan pudding, and we talked about my mum's recipes, growing up in a Barbadian household, and of course about my book, Loving the Brothers. I have to say, there were a few tears, but a lot of laughter too. The show airs on the 1st of August on YouTube. Speaking of Barbados, I was invited to sit on the panel of the National Council of Barbadian Associations UK, talking about all things Bajan, from food and culture through to Barbadian politics. I have to say, it was a lot of fun. In the last 2 weeks, I have read the following books: At Your Age, Edith Brown by Tali Hibbert, and You People by Nikita Lawani, bringing the total titles read for 2021 to 33 books. I am 17 books from where I should be at this point of the year, but I'm not panicking yet. I've also had an exciting opportunity to appear on Sky Arts TV with radio host Angie Greaves. I will be joining the show as a panel member of Angie's book club, so hopefully I'll get a few more books to read for her show. Become a member of #Team Haynes by following me on Instagram at Loving the Brothers Author to be the first to know how the show went down. Now let's get on with my show by interviewing KLS Fuerte. Hi Kiki, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Hello Pamela, nice to meet you.
And nice to meet you also. And thank you so much for agreeing to do an interview with me on my Author to Author podcast. I'm excited to finally get to know you. We're Facebook friends, but we have never ever met. So I'm looking forward to getting to know more about you this afternoon.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I've been following you on Facebook, on Instagram. I read your book. So, hey, I am honored to be here.
Well, you know I'm a fan of your book, Never Saw You Coming, and I am eagerly awaiting part 2, which we will talk about during this interview as well, especially about the interviewing process. I'm fascinated by that. But I know that you're originally from Guadeloupe, but where in the Caribbean is Guadeloupe? And describe Guadeloupe for us.
Okay, so Guadeloupe is my paradise, first of all. And over there, we call it Guada. It's its original name from the first inhabitant, the Arawak, is Karikera, and this means the island of beautiful waters. So it's an amazing place. It is green. It is in the small West Indies, and it's so small. It is a small, tiny paradise. To locate it, it is really between Montserrat and Dominica. It is made of two parts and shaped like a butterfly. So over there, we call it the Butterfly Island. And in the middle, you have a river. We call it the Salty River. So it's got its own microclimates. You can be in one street where the sun is shining. Then the next street, it can be raining at the end. And it has beautiful white sandy beaches, luxurious vegetation with forests and waterfalls, some animals, wild animals. How do you call them? You know, the one which are black and white and they're very cheeky. I've forgotten the name. And it also has a live volcano, the Soufrière, just like in St. Lucia.
Yes.
And the volcanic activities recently in the Caribbean, I discovered that so many of the volcanoes are called La Soufrière. And that's very confusing to my little brain. But yeah, this is Guadeloupe. And it's a beautiful place. And it's also caressed by hurricanes in the rainy season. We are right in the trajectory of the hurricanes before they hit the United States. So that's where I was born.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that. And you traveled at some stage to France. Do they speak French in Guadeloupe, first of all?
Yes, Guadeloupe is French by its history. So back then, Guadeloupe has been under the Spanish, under the Dutch, under the French authorities, you know, after Christopher Columbus discovered it, because he didn't really discover it. I mean, the Arawaks and Arabs were there before. But hey, I'm not going to rewrite history books because I've got my own books to write. But basically, Guadeloupe became a French department in 1946, which means that all of us born over there, we have French passports. Just like Martinique. In the Caribbean, you have two islands, which are French-speaking islands, and it's Guadeloupe and Martinique. And our status is French status, and we are also Guadeloupeans. In the same way, if you want, that Hawaii and Puerto Rico are American states, Guadeloupe is part of France, even though it is across the Atlantic.
What was the reason for leaving Guadeloupe to go to France?
What happens, I mean, in the 70s, I'm a child of the 70s, and very often, and I think it's still a bit now, I was brought up by my grandmother because mom left the Caribbean to finish her studies and to find work. And Granny says, okay, just leave the children with me and you can go and sort yourself over there. So that's the reason why I left. And it was really to join my mom again and to start secondary school, because my primary school, my brother and I, we did it in Guadeloupe, and that was amazing. And age 10 years old, I left my little paradise and I moved to France, and it was so cold and I was tiny as a child. I left Guadeloupe for education and also to be again with my mum.
So what was the educational system like in France, and how easily did you adapt?
Well, that is the funny thing, because I will never forget my French teacher in Paris saying, "My goodness, Christelle is so good at French," in comparison to the other children who had done their whole primary school in France. I don't know why, but that was, we have these, not stereotypes, but in Guadeloupe, the way I was brought up, French had to be spoken by the elders, and the children, I was not allowed to speak Creole because that was the language for the adults to speak when they were speaking, you see. So at school, at home, I had to speak the best French that I could as a child. And moving into France, then my French wasn't bad at all. And also, I had spent my childhood writing stories and winning stories competition on a weekly basis. So when I arrived in year 7, age 10, 11, and we had to write stories in the French class, hey, I just went for it. So the system it's just the same in Guadeloupe and in France. You do your secondary school, then high school, then university, which I did in Paris as well. I studied American and English literature at the Sorbonne, and then I moved to the UK.
When did you move to the UK?
I moved to the UK when I was 20, and that was to continue with my English and American studies. I had to spend a year in an English-speaking country, and I chose the UK because that was close to home, close to mum and family, rather than going all the way to the States. That sounded too scary for me. So yes, I was in my 20s, and I worked for a year, and then I was headhunted because there was a lack of native language teachers. So University of Oxford wrote a letter to me and offering me to stay and study to qualify and teach French in the UK. That sounded pretty fun. So I stayed. I was meant to stay for 1 year.
Well, whereabouts in the UK are you based now?
Now I'm in Southwest London. I've lived in the UK in different places. I've turned around, Sutton area, but now I'm in Southwest London, and I've been there for a while, and I like it. It's cool. I like Brexit, but I like being in London. I like the UK. The UK has been good for me, so I hope I can continue to be good to them back.
Absolutely. Are you still teaching?
Yes, I am. I am not related to J.K. Rowling, so I do need to carry on teaching. And yes, I'm a senior leader in a secondary school, and I teach student teachers how to teach. I train them, and I also train senior leaders how to lead. So this is very exciting. I love that aspect of my life and my career as well. And I write too, which is even more fun than teaching. Teaching is fun every day. I mean, I remember teaching Greg, who interviewed me, and that was really good memory. So I love teaching, but I like writing even more.
No problem with that at all. So your book never saw you coming. How easy was the writing process for you?
Ooh, well, easy. It's such an amazing word. I would say it was not easy, but it was not difficult either. The thing is, I cannot write and start on Monday and finish on Friday or Sunday. I write in waves. So it comes to me and it goes away and it comes back. So it's not, I mean, I see all these courses, write a book in 3 months. And I'm thinking, wow, great. I've never even tried to do that. I mean, it took me years, but I will think things through. And also because it's fiction, anything can inspire me. I know for the book number 2, one of the scenes in the book is something that I dreamt about. And I woke up and I had to write that dream literally. And then I found a way to put it in the book. And this is how I write. I mean, I write my best if I isolate myself, Pamela.
Right. Yeah.
Because with life, I have my family. I mean, my daughter is old. She's not old, but she's 23 and she lives with a boyfriend. But I still have my son who is at university and he was in secondary school, and I have my partner, and family life is not really easy to write it, because you have to cook dinner and do the ironing and go to work and mark the books and so on. So I do have to be strict with myself, and I write best when I go away and book a room somewhere in a B&B or in a hotel or in a cottage. That's what I did for the very first book. And the second one, I had booked that lovely place on Airbnb. It was a room, like a little chalet, and there was a pond and a forest around it. And then lockdown happened. So I never went. I was very, very sad to cancel that. So writing for me can be easy at times and difficult at other times. I don't think I would do very well if my publisher was to say to me, you must write this by that date. Oh my goodness. I wouldn't cope with that. No. You can't give me a deadline when I have to be creative.
So, Kiki, tell us, where did the title for the book come from?
The title for the book. You have to imagine that I didn't know what the title was going to be until the end of the book. So I reached the end stage and I go back to check that everything is logical, the sequences are right, the characters are in the right place in chapter 1. If they move to another place, chapter 2, and I talk about them chapter 5, they can't jump from Paris to China with nothing in between. So as I was going back to the book and reading chapter to chapter, I just thought, oh my God, they never saw what was coming.
Wow.
Because it just goes in with ups and down, ups and down. And as for Beatrice, the main protagonist, she certainly never saw Edward coming, because I wrote in the first person, because it's Beatrice telling her story.
That's right.
I just thought, right, Beatrice is going to say, I never saw you coming. And that's where the title is coming from. It literally was at the end of the book, going back and reviewing, that I just saw, they never saw it coming at all.
They never, no.
The story.
I agree with you. They just never saw that coming. And it's the perfect title for your book as well. When did you publish your book, and who published your book for you?
Published it in June 2017 with Ex Libris. It's a publishing company based in Indiana in the States. But I will republish Never Saw You Coming Again with another company, the Universal Breakthrough. And these ones, they are based in New York in the States.
What kind of support did you get from your publishing house?
From the very first one, Ex Libris, they supported with the book cover, which they designed based on my suggestions / instruction. I don't know, because I had to tell them a few times. I told you that I needed a black woman silhouette and a white man silhouette holding hands. And the first silhouettes I was given clearly were not showing me that. So I had to go back and explaining to them that I wanted some red around them, red for passion and even red for blood, and a little bit of light. So they are, you have to think, are they walking towards the light or are they walking away from the light? That is what I had in mind. So they did do the design of the cover. And of course, the interior, they helped a little bit with the editing and so on. This is what they did, the first company. But I'm not going to publish with them again. I'll go with the Universal Breakthrough, and their support is different. They know me, they call me to ask questions, they respond to my questions. We have a really, really good, deep relationship, and they believe in me. You know, I am new on the scene as an author. And yes, I have written 2 books, but like I said earlier, I'm not J.K. Rowling's a niece, and I'm not Shakespeare granddaughter. So it is, you know what I mean? They are really, really supportive and encouraging. And I had a conversation with Beatrice, because it's a real team of people working with me this time. And this is really great. And Beatrice said, you have a really distinctive writing style. Have you thought about writing children's books? And I thought, oh, no. Well, I'm terrible at drawing in the first place. But writing children's book, I've never thought of doing that. And why not? So in terms of support, I'm really happy with the support of the Universal Breakthrough. They are a media company, not a traditional publishing company, but they're going to represent me to traditional publishers, and who knows where that will take me. And they can also represent me to media. So this is who they are. Really exciting to work with them.
I mean, it's easily a film, isn't it? You know, the twists and turns.
I'm glad you're saying so, because you're not the only one who said that. And I'd love that to happen.
So who would star as Beatrice? If you were involved in auditioning actresses, who would play her?
Beatrice, do you watch Death in Paradise on
Yes, I do.
BBC One? Because Death in Paradise is shot in Guadeloupe. My
Yes.
next trip over there, when I can go, I will stand in that Death in Paradise cafe on that beach. I know the beach. I recognize it. My best friend has a friend who films who's in the crew for that. I
Yeah.
will go there. So in Death in Paradise, you have this actress, Sarah Martins, who is from Guadeloupe. And I think she would do a very good Beatrice. But I looked at her profile again recently, and the age doesn't really match. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet, but I think she would do a good Beatrice. And as for Edward, I don't know really. Maybe, no, I'm just talking up here, sending ideas to the universe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hugh Grant.
I was thinking Hugh Grant as well.
How are you? Well, let's make our two thoughts connect.
We'll channel that for you, that energy to come to you.
Yes,
In the
yes. So
atmosphere. Yeah.
maybe Hugh Grant, but that would just be amazing to have a film TV adaptation or screen adaptation. I don't know, with the film because with the story, because it is a moving story.
I have to say, I really don't like where you left me. I take it personally that you left me where you left me, and people will have to read the book Never Saw You Coming to understand why I kept on turning the pages looking for more.
I know.
It wasn't there. And I was like, oh my days, you've left us on such a cliffhanger.
Did I shock you?
And yes, and I never saw that coming. And I've already told you that if you need a better reader, or you're able to give out an advanced reader copy of your second book, which we're going to talk about in a minute, I'm your girl, because I need to know what happened next to poor Beatrice.
Just get ready. Just hold on your belt really tight. Get ready.
I'm here for all of it, Kiki. I'm here for all of it. So as soon as you're ready, you let me know. But since becoming a published author, what has been your proudest moment?
When I placed the book in the hands of my grandmother, and she said to me, "Oh, I always knew you would write books." And I've had so many other proud moments. I mean, when I phoned my mom and said to her, "I've received the first real copy, I've received it," and she was so pleased. She came to my book launch. She flew from Paris just for that. And if you have seen the pictures on Instagram of my book launch, one of them has my mom, my daughter, and myself together. And that is just magical, precious moment. All of it. I mean, I have to say that my family is very pleased and proud of me for, achieving that little dream of mine.
Many people talk about it. It's on their bucket list. It's something that they would like to do. But you didn't just talk about it. It materialized for you. Your book is here. It's part of your legacy building as well, in terms of, way after we're not here, our books are still here. So it's a massive achievement. It is a big deal.
Yes, thank you very much. It is. And I wrote the first one and I wrote the second one. And when I finished with the second book, when I sent the manuscript and I was no longer saying, right, I'm off, got to do some book work, I no longer needed to do that. And I was missing it. I was feeling empty. So I started on the third one, just writing a few notes on my own, but that doesn't matter. I have to start somewhere. I will just write. And yes, I've started the third one because I was missing that book writing activity once I finished.
Is it a trilogy or something completely different?
Well, I think that I'll make it a trilogy. This is how I always started with the trilogy. But like Star Wars, the books were not written in the order. So I've written number 1, the sequel number 2, and then I'm going to go back in time to find out about Beatrice before Edward came into her life, because that might give a few answers to why she does and why she doesn't do certain things. So at the moment, I am cogitating about young Beatrice. So I've started making notes and I'm working on the structure of the story so that it makes sense where it starts and where it will end, because the end of that part will need to be close to the beginning of the first book.
Yeah, I think one day I intend to watch the whole Star Wars series in the order that it was meant to be in. But they're incredibly long films, and I don't know whether I've got the staying power to do that. But I do get the principle of going back and learning about the characters when they were younger, which helps inform us about why they make the decisions that they make once they're adults. So I'm intrigued by that. But Kiki, tell us about the new book, the second book. What is it called?
It is called Now Live With That. And there's a big exclamation mark at the end of that. It's a saga. It's what happens after the ending that you didn't like. Will you like the next ending? I don't know. I'll leave you to discuss and decide in the second book. But you see, with the second book, I had even more fun developing the characters of Edward and Beatrice. And I reduced the cast. I say the cast. I mean, it will be a film one day. So let's carry on with the cast. I reduced the cast to focus on Beatrice, Edward, and some other key players, and making them do things that the reader will not expect. So, because Beatrice, she's very naive, looking for real love, and the saga, the romantic thriller style continues with loads of ups and downs and twists and turns, and well, it might not be just one or two characters that twist and turn.
Oh, wow. I'm intrigued to know what happens next with that. But when is the new book likely to come out?
Well, at the moment, the Universal Breakthrough, they're working on the relaunch, the second edition, and see how the second edition does, marketing-wise, promotion and all that. It will be a brand new cover and so on. The covers of the two books are on my Instagram and my Facebook account, so you can have a look. And once the first one, the second edition of Never Saw You Coming is out, then the second one will follow shortly after that. So I hope that June, July, the second book, Now Live With That, will be out.
Well, congratulations on your hard work. We've seen little snippets on social media of you beavering away and the joys of editing the book. I've seen you with those posts. A bit of a nightmare to do it, but it's a job that needs to be done. So to know that in the next 8 weeks or so, your book is going to be out there must be really rewarding.
Yes, indeed. It's, Pamela, it feels like having another baby because it's been so much hard work to get there.
Yes.
And hard work in the sense that you cherish the work, you nurture it, you take care of it, you dress it with your sentences and your question marks and your title names and numbers, and you go back over it and you put new paints and new adjectives. And so it's like comparing it to having another baby or an amazing dish that you have cooked and you take it out of the oven and it's hot and smells gorgeous. Yes, I'm just really excited. Can't wait to have the books in my hand with the new covers.
Oh, of course. And no doubt if we follow you on social media, we'll see the big unveiling of your books when you've got them in your hands. But Kiki, when you're not writing, how do you unwind? How do you relax?
I read. I love reading. I've always been an avid reader. Avid reader, you say in English?
Yes.
So I read, I cook. I don't really love cooking. I have to be in the right mood for it. And with the time, I mean, my son will tell you that I am the fussiest cook around. When he has to cook something, he will say, "Yes, mother, I put all the spices in it. Don't worry." And so on. Don't give me a steak with just salt and pepper on it. That is just not on. I will do a bit of cooking, gardening if the weather is nice. I cannot say it's my favorite because I don't like worms, but I'll do a little bit of gardening, reading magazines. I love reading the news online. I am a news person, kind of junkie. There are some programs that I like watching as well. I love the Red Table Talk on Facebook and the Daily News with Trevor Noah and some other French programs online.
Are you reading anything at the moment?
Yes, I have started to read Born a Crime by Trevor Noah.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, have you read it?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Oh, gosh, don't tell me, don't tell me. So, I just love the author. I believe he's very bright and so positive, and he's coming from South Africa, from Soweto, and he's done so well as a mixed boy in South Africa during apartheid, certainly not allowed to be born from a Swiss father who's white and an African mother who's black. So his book, Born a Crime, I'm just really interested in seeing his life journey, his difficulties from South Africa to New York. I mean, he's on the stage in New York. He's a comedian. He's a bright guy. I'd love to be interviewed by him. Who knows? That's something else to the universe, right?
We've put that out there. We've put that out there. Trevor Noah, we're channeling
This
him.
is what I am
and-
reading at the
Yeah.
moment. He's talking about his grandmother in the book, and I saw one of his reports where he's going back home and meeting his
Yes.
grandmother, and I just, oh my gosh, that was so moving. I think that it's after seeing that little report on Facebook that I just ordered this book, and that's it. This is what I'm reading at the moment.
Fantastic. I mean, if you get a chance to listen to his audio book as well, it's a double treat because Trevor Noah is also the narrator and it's absolutely fantastic. Are you ready for the quick fire round?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Just accepting your first answer. Ready?
Go for it. Go for it.
Guadeloupe or France?
Can I say both?
Go ahead.
Okay, both.
Why both?
Because I was born in Guadeloupe, I grew up in France, and I see the two interconnected together for different reasons. My family is based in Guadeloupe, but has lived in France. My best friends are both in Guadeloupe and in France. I studied in France. I loved my student years in France. And there's so many good things about the two places that are making who I am.
But
Uh-oh.
if Guadeloupe and France were playing in the Rugby World Cup, what scarf would you wear?
I would wear the scarf at the end of the game with the winning team.
Now, that's a good answer. That's a really good answer.
Okay.
Soca or Zouk?
Zouk. Zouk. I was brought up with more Zouk than Soca. And you know that. You have placed on the trailer Oula Oulé by Kassav, which is one of my favorite songs. So Zouk every time, every day.
No problem. Beach or sitting?
I'm a beach girl. No ifs or maybe about that.
Cooking at home or eating out?
Eating out?
Reading or writing?
Writing? Oh,
Fiction.
both. Fiction.
Cozy nights in or night out on the tiles?
I've just turned 50. I'll say cozy night in.
Good answer. Kiki, are you able to read a little bit from your book?
Yes, I can. Would you like to choose a chapter?
It's up to you.
Okay. So let me read a chapter for you. I'll go to chapter 3 on page 39. And the chapter is called We Are in Love Again. Sometime between April and June 2004, Edward and I tried to be in love again. We make love like there is no tomorrow, every night. He now calls me sex addict woman. There is this urge that I have to give myself to him, probably in a desperate need to keep him as mine, to reassure myself that he still belongs to me, physically, emotionally, and sexually. Deep down, I wonder if Edward is a new man, a man that I do not recognize. I wonder if I really want to do that, like that. Our lovemaking relationship is changing. He is more powerful, more dominating. I enjoy it, but at times I do not feel that we are making love. He's making love at me as though he had something to prove to me or to himself. What exactly? I cannot work it out. We are now going out a lot. We're making more time for each other. I try to spend less time with my laptop at night and have less late chats with Pearl, but I miss our good laughs lately. Still, I was happy again, I thought. I would still pick up his phone to run through its messages and recent calls. Nothing. I did not contact Ariana again after that meeting in the cafe. Edward and I tried to talk about the affair, but I need to know what they were doing together, how they met, when, where. At times he would answer my question, and at other times he would become heated and stop talking. A shadow is cast upon us. Will it ever go away?
Oh gosh, you've got me all fired up over here again. I think I might read the book again, just to get myself
I
up
think
to
you read
date
it twice already.
yes, I have, before the book comes out. So yes, I
So
have to
go
make sure
for
I
it.
do that.
Fill your boots. Read it a third time.
No problem at all. Kiki, finally, can you let people know how they can get hold of you and follow you on social media?
Yes, of course. So I am KLS Fuerte. Fuerte, you spell it Fuerte. And this is how you will find me on Facebook, KLS Fuerte, on Instagram. And my website is www.klsfuerte.com. I do not have a Twitter account. I'm not a fan of Twitter. So there we go. But I might change my mind with the second book.
Okay. And can people get a signed copy of the book from you from your website?
Not yet. When the book is republished, certainly. But at the moment, it is the first edition that you can purchase on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and so on. So yes, you can have a signed copy by going through the Amazon and through me. Because from my website, you can contact me. You can have a chat about that as well.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you for meeting me this evening to have a fantastic interview. I feel as though I've met you properly now as a
Yes,
result.
indeed.
And learned so much more about you. So I want to wish you all the very best for the relaunch of Never Saw You Coming. And for the new title, can you remind us of the new title again?
Yes, is now live
Now
with that.
Right.
Yeah, now
right.
live with that.
With an exclamation mark at the end of
That's
that.
right.
Yeah, so I'll look forward to getting hold of that book as well. Are you going to have a book launch?
I would die for a book launch, where you meet your readers and sign the book and have face to face. So just waiting on the news and what happens with, everything. I hope to have a face to face book launch at some point. I mean, the very first book launch, I love that. It was in October 2017. So I want to do this. And if I cannot do it by the time the books are out, then I will try a virtual launch book, but it's not my favorite option. But
No.
yes, I would hope to have that option open to me when the books are out.
Excellent. I think you're one to watch KLS, so I wish you all the best. And thank you very much.
Thank you
very much
so
for
much for inviting me. It's been an absolute pleasure, Pamela, and definitely feel like I know you better too.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye-bye.
It is competition time now. Last time we asked you the whereabouts in Jamaica is Danielle's grandfather from, and the correct answer is Westmoreland in Jamaica. We have a winner, and a copy of Danielle's book, Sienna Starts Cool, will be posted out shortly. To stand a chance of winning KLS's book, Never Saw You Coming, direct message me on Instagram at Loving the Brothers Author with the correct answer to the following question. Guadeloupe changed hands several times, but the Arawak Indians originally named the island. What does the original name mean? Good luck and bye for now.
Please join Pamela R. Haynes for another Author to Author podcast coming soon.